Christen Press coming off of an assist in the game against Spain, obviously a goal against England. Christen, how are you?
Hi, I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I appreciate you making some time for us, Christen. I mean, very busy period here with the She Believes Cup. Got one game left, and I'll ask you. I mean, how do you feel about your performance? The goal against England is incredible. We just listened to the call from Sebastian Salazar, which I've hoped you've heard, and then the game against Spain, which was a little bit of a different kind of challenge.
Yeah, I think that the team's in a great spot. Getting used to our new coach and just trying to build every game, and I think that's where I am personally. Started the year off pretty strong, which I think is great, but it's also just the foundation and the building blocks. So I'm hoping to continue to improve as a team and individually throughout the year because the Olympics is a bit later this year, so we need to be peaking late July.
Do you think is there a difference? Does it feel different for you with Vlatko in charge as opposed to Jill Ellis?
Of course. I think that, any change of coach, drastically changes the environment. I think Vlatko has a very hard task. With Jill having won back-to-back World Cups, it's, a hard act to follow. But he's done a great job so far in implementing his nuance and his details, but keeping some of the big structures that have made us so successful.
Are you more comfortable with Vlatko? I mean, obviously, your playing time's a little bit different. Are you more comfortable?
I would not say that. I think that with Jill and Tony, we had very, very clear roles. And so there was a comfortability in that. And there was a clarity in what was expected of us. And I could really easily predict what my teammates were going to do, what my playing time was going to be like. And obviously, I think just any change is hard. And there's a bit more freedom. And there's a bit less rigidness in the expectation, but that presents its own challenges as well as creates a really fun environment to play the beautiful game.
Well, do you feel as though, like expression is part of your game? We're all enjoying watching you play, and I imagine you're feeling pretty good about your game right now, considering your form. But is it like you're working towards something as a team and something more rigid, or do you imagine that this, or has Vlatko expressed that this is going to be part of it? That more room for that expression is part of the deal moving forward.
I think so. I think it's not something that's been explicitly said, but I think that's the feeling in camp and in trainings and games. There's a bit more gray area and a little bit of empowerment of the players to make decisions. And I think that allows, people to express who they are and their individuality on and off the ball. And, then our job, having come out of a different system, is to actually relearn all of our teammates and our tendencies and, kind of get to know each other within that newly found freedom of expression.
I want to ask you about the goal against England. When you hit it, did you know it was going in? How many times have you hit something like that in your life?
I did know it was going in, but I've felt in the past that when the ball has left my foot, I felt like I surely scored and it hasn't gone in. So I watched and just made sure, because you never know. But it felt good. It felt exactly as it's supposed to. That's a particular place on the field that I've trained extensively for 20 years now. So I know what it feels like, and that's exactly what it's supposed to feel like.
There's so much talent in this group and so many amazing players and so many fan favorites, Christen. And obviously Megan Rapinoe she had an incredible World Cup and she is a fan favorite. And, we expect to see her in the team again on a regular basis. But, you guys play the same position. So there's a question of, okay, is Christen Press taking over for Megan Rapinoe? What's it like just kind of being in that environment, playing with somebody like Megan, but also being in competition with her for time?
Yeah, I think one of the greatest blessings in my career has been to be competing with Alex and Pino specifically, from a 9's perspective and now from an 11's perspective for time. It's a very, very challenging task, and it keeps me on my toes at all times. But I think now with Pino being one of my closest friends and having been really close with her throughout this last World Cup build-up in, sharing playing time and kind of growing in that role together. I feel really good about it. I feel like we're both in a position to succeed. And I think that, that's what makes our team great, that there's as much, if not more, in team competition. And so then by the time we get to face opponents, we've faced the worst, and, we've scraped and clawed for all of our positions, and it sets us up to be tough as nails and really hard to beat.
No, you guys are capable of scoring amazing team goals, individual goals like yours against England, but also set pieces remain a major part of what American soccer does. And for the women's national team, it's how you beat Spain. When you're taking that kick, are you aiming for Julie's head? How does that work? How much training do you guys do on that specific play?
Well, our team prides itself on being best in the world, offensively and defensively, in set pieces. And that's something that I think as veteran players we've really been focusing on in this transition, making sure that the mentality piece on set pieces continues in this new era. And we felt previously this year had been lacking. And even earlier in the Spain game, we had missed some really great balls. And, when you get to that moment at the end of the game where everybody feels like this could be it, this could be the last chance, that's where I have even the most trust in my team. So my mindset was get the ball behind the back line, put the ball in the space behind the defenders, because I had no doubt in my mind that my teammates would be there. I mean, Julie's an incredible target. She's always beating her player to the space. So anytime we serve a good ball, she's going to score it. And having that type of runner on your service gives you a lot of confidence. You just have to do your job. It doesn't have to be, spectacular. You have to beat the defenders, put the ball where it needs to go, and my team will take care of the rest.
Jason Davis on the United States of Soccer talking to you, the U.S. Women's National Team's Christen Press, getting ready for the final game of the She Believes Cup tomorrow night against Japan. These games come pretty quick. Obviously, the She Believes Cup is not, it's not the biggest tournament, but it's still important, especially for preparation, Christen. So, how are you guys thinking about this Japan game after a comprehensive kind of win over England and a battle against Spain?
Well, actually, this is our last tournament play until the Olympics. Obviously, we had tournament play for qualifying in January, and then we have this tournament, and then the rest of preparation is friendly matches, which are quite different in how you prepare, in how you feel when you're playing. So I actually think our team is taking this tournament incredibly seriously, because it's our last time to get the rhythm of a tournament. And, how you're hydrating, how you're recovering. So I think that that's a really big focus going into the game tomorrow. It's just making sure that we're all being absolutely locked in as if this was a run-through for the Olympics. And it's a must-win game for us, because after this, we'll be in kind of a different cadence of games, and we won't really be able to practice these types of, professional tidbits.
Mm-hmm. The 30-game unbeaten run, is that something that the team do you guys talk about it? Has there been discussion? Has it even been acknowledged? And does it provide any extra pressure to keep it going?
You saying that is the first I've heard of it. Okay. I think that there's a sense, I don't have a clear memory of, the last time we lost. So I think that everybody feels that. It's not something that's discussed. I think that, on this team, winning every single game is the expectation. Losing feels very traumatic and unusual, and that's our job. It's our job to make it feel that way, to stay committed to those high expectations and that enormous amount of pressure, and then flipping that pressure on its head and allowing it to be our motivation and our fuel to keep going. I think that in the past we have not won this She Believes tournament, I want to say in 2 years. So I think that's something we've talked about going into this game. We win this game tomorrow. We win the tournament for the first time in a while, and I think that'll feel like a good step forward.
Yeah, tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time in Frisco, Texas at Toyota Stadium. The U.S. Women's National Team up against Japan in the final game of the She Believes Cup. Christen Press with us on the United States of Soccer. Christen, congratulations on all the success. Good luck tomorrow night, and thank you very much for the time.
Thanks for having me.
There goes Christen Press on the program, and pretty remarkable.